everyone, I'm Ellis Ather.
And I'm Lily Sincola. Welcome to a special edition of Grady Newsource, focusing on solutions to challenges in Athens, Clarke County and its surrounding area.
That's right, Lily. We had our reporters visiting the counties of Athens, Clarke, Jackson, Madison, Oconee, and Barrow to talk to residents about environmental problems impacting their communities and how they found solutions.
Our first story covers Madison County and how it's preserving land. Joining us now is Ansley Kelly, a reporter on the Madison team. Ansley, what'd you find?
Well, Lily, fire might seem like the last thing you'd use to protect the land, but in Madison County, prescribed burns are doing exactly that. As agriculture continues to drive Georgia's economy, officials are using fire to keep the land healthy and reduce wildfire risk. Here's how they do it. Setting fire on purpose as a way to lower wildfire risk may sound surprising, but in Madison County, people are doing just that. Prescribed fire is a land management strategy, as nitrogen is released more quickly than the natural rotting process. However, landowners such as David Kidd have varying goals.
I use it for conservation management. That's what my wife Jane and I are very much into on our farm now, is conservation and seeing species return, seeing species stay and are stable.
Burning is especially prevalent in rural counties such as Madison, which has more farmland to maintain.
Usually burn it about every 3 years. I've got some landowners that likes to do it every 2 years, but you want to do it at least every 3 years to kind of keep everything in shape.
However, fire doesn't just improve the ecosystem, it prevents disaster.
Reduce the number, but it does reduce the intensity of the fires. I would much rather fight a fire in a forest that has been regularly burned than a forest that has never been burned.
Madison County properties are protected by volunteers, such as the Shiloh Community Volunteer Fire Department. Protecting a rural community, however, comes with unique challenges.
That's 30 fire hydrants in 30 square miles, and they're all down one highway. So we have to haul water back and forth to fight fire.
Whether or not prescribed burnings are right to manage your land, creating a 100-foot buffer, especially surrounding structures, is crucial for safety. These tactics can also make things easier for firefighters to mitigate damage in the event of a wildfire.
If a UPS truck won't fit down your driveway without hitting limbs, a fire truck won't fit down your driveway.
Burning is common, but experts say it's still not enough.
We should be burning just the pine in Georgia 4 million acres a year. We are burning on average only 1.5. So that means there is a lot of forested land out there that is not being managed.
However, burning land will always come with trade-offs, especially in the form of smoke, which can cause immediate lung irritation and lung damage from long-term exposure.
The landowner is still the responsible party for the fire, but not just the fire, for the smoke too. And you don't want to shut down a highway or a county road or with, smoke.
Currently, regular burners are not concerned about the smoke output from the 1.5 million acres.
We got to report I mean, it's annoying if you're close to it and having to breathe the smoke, but as far as what it's actually putting in the air, it's not anything significant at all.
And fire safety officials see it as a means towards less wildfire damage.
You don't have to call 911 because there's smoke in the area. And it happens all the time.
Prescribed burnings are a common wildfire safety tactic. The best tactic, however, taking caution when starting a fire of any size.
And the thing that really contributes to the most is the human being. Mm-hmm. People burn when they shouldn't. And next thing you know, their little leaf pile or brush pile is getting away from them.
But some basic knowledge and preparation could be the difference between a controlled fire and major wildfire devastation. For Grady Newsource, this is Greta Gustafson, Ansley Kelly, and Marley Henriches.
We got to report a small spot fire north.
Thanks, Ansley. Who would have thought burning things down would be a solution to wildfires? Lily, you got to work on our second story in Athens, Clarke County. What did you find about how Athens is dealing with the abundance of waste?
Well, downtown Athens has a trash problem that shows up where people noticed it most, along sidewalks, near curbs, and at bus stops. The story is not only about the litter itself, it's about how Athens, Clarke County is responding and whether waste reduction practices are making a visible difference in the city's busiest spaces.
There's still a lot of litter. That's the main waste reduction that we deal with, is litter.
In Athens Clarke County, trash in high traffic areas like downtown has become a familiar sight. But according to local waste reduction leaders, the issue isn't just litter on the ground. It's also the sheer volume of material that could be reused, recycled, or composted, but still ends up in the trash.
The sheer quantity of waste is probably the largest issue that we have.
But this story isn't just about the problem, it's about the response and whether Athens is really doing anything that actually helps. Athens Clarke County is responding through litter cleanup, compost collection, recycling programs, and a pricing model designed to encourage people to throw less away.
And then Down and Dirty is something that I helped develop. So it's people that want to do a cleanup but don't want to formally adopt something. They just want to do a one-time cleanup. And just we've seen so much growth in that, and the number of bags of trash that we're able to get off the road has been very large, and there's been a lot of growth in that.
Programs like Down and Dirty, as well as community-led cleanup events organized by Keep Athens Clarke County Beautiful, have helped improve public spaces, roadsides, and waterways. These efforts show how community cleanup efforts can get people directly involved in removing litter from Athens streets.
Here in Athens, that response includes not just trying to throw away litter, but also trying to reduce how much we throw away in the first place.
Our businesses have access to our composting program through us collecting roll carts full of food scraps as many times as you need us to a week. And our residents have access to 12 free drop sites across the community.
Keeping food waste out of landfills is essential. At the current rate, the Athens Clarke County landfill will reach capacity in just 37 years.
And we have a really robust recycling program here in Athens Clarke County that actually requires all businesses and organizations in the county to recycle.
County officials say that even with strong recycling access, too much waste still ends up being thrown away.
But we have also instituted a pay-as-you-throw model. That means the larger volume of trash that you throw away, the more you have to pay for it. So that has encouraged folks to switch to recycling in order to reduce their trash bill.
That may be one of the biggest lessons for other small cities and college towns. In Athens, that means giving people multiple ways to reduce what goes into the trash through cleanup programs, composting, and recycling. But there are still limitations. Downtown, especially around bars and nightlife, remains to be one of the hardest places to keep clean.
They generate an insane amount of waste. Even if they are recycling, which usually they're not, the quantity of waste that they're generating is more than they are willing to manage adequately.
Officials say the county is also trying to change how waste is stored downtown, moving away from bags and roll carts on the street and towards enclosed eco-stations.
We think it's been pretty nice, honestly, having those right there. It's much easier than the last ones. Sometimes we'd be competing for trash bins all around like the side of the street and all that. But now that we have one singular place we can all go, it makes it a lot easier.
But spreading awareness on the new system is a tedious process.
But we have not gotten as many people as enrolled in that program as we would like to, partially because we don't have as many as many eco stations set up downtown as we need to at this point in time.
Trash can be cleaned up and waste can be reduced, but the system is not fully built out yet.
A realistic goal for absolute overhaul of the downtown system would probably be closer to 5 years. But ideally, that would mean all residents and businesses are using eco stations downtown.
So while Athens still has work to do, its response offers a practical example of what it looks like to address a public problem through both cleanup and waste reduction.
Wow, Lily, I can imagine how crazy waste can get on big event days in Athens.
Yeah, Athens Clarke County has worked hard to manage it all. Staying on the same topic, our reporters learned about a composting problem in Barrow County.
Reporter TJ French went to Barrow to learn more, but didn't find a solution. TJ, what did you find elsewhere?
Thanks, Ella. Without a composting facility in Barrow County, businesses are challenged with finding their own ways to compost. We took our search to Athens Clarke County, where one of 2 of Georgia's composting sites live. This composting site allows local businesses to take advantage of a sustainable waste option.
Here in Barrow County, businesses like Night Sky Coffee Roasters don't have access to a composting site.
It kind of weighs on me knowing that we are contributing so much to the landfill, but there's just no composting facility here in Barrow.
But just minutes away, Athens-Clarke County has built a composting system designed to keep that waste out of landfills that is benefiting Athens coffee shop 1,000 Faces.
Here at Athens-Clarke County, we are able to collect the compost or the food scraps from businesses, and we bring them to our composting facility. We process the material there, usually takes about 6 months, and then we sell the completed compost to anybody who wants to buy it.
It's just kind of an easy habit to add on to your routine. If you just kind of incorporate it into the day-to-day, it just becomes natural.
Programs like this focus on one of the biggest sources of landfill waste, food scraps.
By being able to compost even a quarter of that, we would make huge steps towards reducing greenhouse emissions.
But for composting to really make a difference, it has to work at a larger scale.
When you start ramping it up to a larger operation, it starts to make financial sense.
But for many businesses, the challenge starts before scaling. It's access.
Yeah, if a company or a business wants to compost, they basically have to do it on their own. So I think the access not being there, it makes it a lot harder for businesses to make that choice.
They've got one so close to them. Ultimately, what would benefit them most economically would be to bring their food scraps to us.
I think that they would be more than happy to utilize those services if they were offered.
Athens-Clarke County has shown how composting can work in a community and how it could expand beyond county lines.
I wonder how Barrow will approach composting in the future.
I guess we'll see. Our next county, Jackson County, has used a strategy implemented by surrounding areas in its effort to manage consistent traffic. Reporter Ben Kuehl has more on the story. Ben, what did you find out about their solution?
Thanks, Ella. With more people, more cars, and more gridlock, Jackson County has found a solution for its traffic problem, and it doesn't involve a single stoplight.
For one of the fastest growing counties in the nation, the rapid onset of people has created some issues, traffic being at the top of the list. We spoke with Jackson County resident Richard Austin, who's experienced this issue firsthand.
Probably over the last 2 years, traffic has just exploded up here. And sometimes it would take 10 minutes just to get through that intersection, which is about a quarter of a mile.
However, there might be a solution for Austin. Studies by Kansas State University measured traffic flow before and after the installation of roundabouts. In each case, installing a roundabout led to a 20% reduction in delays. In Jackson County, these reductions were seen right away.
I didn't think they were going to work. I was like, this is stupid. It makes no sense. But it is actually insane how much it actually has changed traffic as a whole.
Jeff Bridges, Public Works Director in Jackson County, says the first roundabout they did on Skeleton Road in 2024 showed just how beneficial they could be.
It took that road from a couple of years of traffic stacking, way back on the road, requiring deputies to direct traffic in the mornings and in the evenings. But, after the realignment and the roundabout, none of that's really needed.
So far, Jackson County has 5 roundabouts, all proving to be a success in the eyes of Austin and Bridges. And according to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, roundabouts cut down carbon monoxide emissions anywhere from 15 to 45%. But while the benefits are clear for some, roundabouts can still bring their own set of challenges.
I think the key is the space. A roundabout requires a lot of space.
That's Dr. Robert Before, a clinical professor at the UGA College of Engineering. For him, space is just the first hurdle. The next, educating residents.
So one of the things you should do is to educate people how to use roundabout, because people get into the roundabout and get stopped. At times, when you're in the roundabout, you have the right to do it. And before you enter, you don't.
For Richard Austin and thousands of other Jackson County residents, the learning curve has been worth it. The county that once sat in gridlock is now moving, one circle at a time.
I could always do with a little less traffic.
You and me both.
Our final story of the show covers how residents in Oconee County have a unique approach to an invasive species problem. Ella, you were on the Oconee team.
Yeah, I was.
So how are local farmers doing their part to help trap hogs?
Feral hogs are an invasive species causing extensive crop and property damage to farmers in the area, including Oconee County. The Hog Down Awards program is offering a new strategy by recognizing individuals and offering education on a persistent problem.
Wild hogs are damaging farmland, crops, and wildlife habitat across Georgia. They reproduce quickly, making populations hard for farmers to maintain. Whole sounder trapping is the most effective way to control feral hogs, but the traps are expensive, putting them out of reach for many landowners. That's where the Hog Down Awards come in. The Georgia Department of Natural Resources pilot program rewards landowners who can prove they have killed 10 hogs with whole sounder traps valued at $3,500.
The introduction of, hey, I can win a trap to make me more effective may have put a little bit more effort into their, or more reward for their effort.
Sounder traps are the most effective because they trap the entire community, known as a sounder, all at once, leaving no pig behind.
Pigs are very highly intelligent animals, so it's really important that all of those pigs in that social group are trapped at once versus educating pigs to then avoid traps and things along those lines.
Since the start of the program in June of 2025, the initiative has led to the dispatch of 5,965 wild hogs, with around 200 wild hogs in the most recent quarter. That may just be a small dent of the over 600,000 wild hogs in Georgia, but with whole sounder traps in the right hands, more hogs can be dispatched.
I'm sure that the efforts statewide are much higher, but this is just one small data point here that we do have to look at.
For Oconee County farmers and landowners across the entire Southeast, the big question is whether programs like this can scale up fast enough to keep up with the damage wild hogs can cause.
I definitely see it as a supplemental. This might appeal more to like a smaller landowner who doesn't have the means to contract with wildlife services to remove pigs there.
The Hog Down Awards program isn't the only depletion to the feral hog population. Wild hogs have become a game species in some people's eyes, leading most people to want to maintain hogs solely to hunt for sport.
Managing wildlife is easy. Managing people is difficult. And kind of everything we're talking about right now is very much so a management of people problem.
Education of wild hogs, their impacts, and humane dispatch of them are all vital in decreasing the invasive population.
I mean, a lot of people just don't realize like all of the negative impacts that these animals have, and that's kind of why they're not okay with it.
Although the Hog Down Awards is not a fix-all solution, the program sees continued participation amongst landowners in the community.
The hunters and the trappers that have won the traps are, of course, they're ecstatic. They won a $3,500 trap and they've become more effective. The folks who have not won but have submitted, they're still hopeful.
The final quarter of the pilot program ends June 30th later this year. After that, the decision to continue funding the Hog Down Awards is in the hands of Georgia state legislators.
If we can get better tools in folks' hands that are out there that are already hunting and trapping, if we can give them one better tool, or they can trap two places at one time instead of one, then we've made that more effective, and hopefully we can create more of a not kind of a patchwork, but county by county, we can get a lot of trapping efforts underway.
Wow, I didn't even know hogs were an invasive species here.
Yeah, I was shocked too.
Well, that's our show. We hope our stories shine a light on the challenges you might not have known local communities were facing, and more importantly, the solutions that are taking place.
For all of our reporting teams, I'm Ella Sather.
And I'm Lily Sincola. Have a great one.